What is this thing I saw in a warehouse with other old office machines? And it does not have a description with it. The keyboard on the right has the numbers 1 to 9 10 times, but no zeros. There is no paper insert that I could find. Any ideas? It's a 1956 Frieden STW-10 mechanical calculator. They were very popular professional calculators in the US in the 1940s and 1950s. They were electrically driven and featured automated multiplication and division. The Frieden company was founded in 1934 during the Great Depression by Swedish immigrant Carl Frieden and operated near San Francisco in San Leandro, California. It became the city's largest employer. Unfortunately, it all went downhill fast when it was purchased in 1965 by the German company Singer, which was unable to capitalize on Frieden's early lead and electronic calculators. This very old violin I found with an interesting label on the inside. It says it's from 1747. It only has 3 strings, has no bow, and smells very old and musty. I found it in an attic and has many parts missing. Is it actually this old, or a reproduction of some kind? It's a very fine Italian violin by Januarius Galliano, and that label is written in Latin, not Italian. Galliano is the name of a famous family of Italian luthiers from Naples, dating back to the early 18th century. But these labels are common in violins that were mass-produced in Europe in the 19th century. It was common practice for low-quality instruments at that time to be labeled as Stradivarius or Amati or Guarneri or Galliano, as in this case. There is almost no chance it is a lost original. That said, you'll get a better idea of what you do have if you go to your local violin shop. But if it's authentic, it's worth from $90,000 to $160,000. My grandpa purchased this telephone several years ago at an antique show. It is written in German. We would like to know if anyone could help us get an estimate of how old it is. Thank you very much for your time in advance. It is not German, it's a Danish phone, most likely used at an exchange. It was manufactured in Denmark from 1910 to 1914 and cooperated with Ericsson from Sweden. People would use this phone model in Europe all the way up to the 40s, when phone exchanges were modernized and automated. What is this thing made of? Cast iron and wood, and likely very old. I found it at an antique shop. It was on top of a shelf of 78 RPM records and had record rack on the price tag. I just don't see it working well as a record rack. And it doesn't look like any others I have seen that are that old. Any ideas? The Century EK company made cameras in the 19th century. Those old cameras had glass plates that you'd expose and develop. This rack is for those glass plates to keep them from touching each other and damaging the image, and it's called a glass negative drying rack, from early photography in the 1870s. What is this very old stone tower near an 1800s Midwest farmhouse in Indiana and Ohio border town? Maybe an old windmill. But there is no mechanism, and the top didn't seem right. Any ideas? It's a water tower built in 1886 by Walter McConaughey on his farm in Center Township near Richmond, Indiana. Walter McConaughey was a well-known Center Township resident and served as a state senator in the early 1900s. There used to be a windmill on top of the structure to pump the water into the tower for storage. What is this strange keyhole built into a very old wall in Paris? It was on the Église Saint Mary. Can anyone identify this? It's a rare gas pipe connection for gas lighting by the Parisian gas company. At a time when gas and electricity were two competing energies for lighting, the company was created in 1855 and liquidated in 1905. What is this very old wood knot sculpture with Hebrew inscription? I inherited this from my father. I have seen this thing my whole life. I'm 58 and never really knew what it was. My late father had told me he had found it in the mud in a digging close to his house in a suburb of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, when he was a kid circa 1930. It is a small boat sculpted on a wood knot. It has an inscription on the back that seems to be burned into the wood and looks like Hebrew. Could anyone help me find out what it is, where it comes from, and from what period? Thank you in advance. The writing on the back says Jerusalem, but in a kind of biblical way and pronounced as Yerushalayim. I grew up in Jerusalem, but the building is a bit fuzzy to me. But after I did a little digging, and the fact that the writing in the back is in Hebrew tells me that this is a building with Jewish importance. It looks like that's a building from the old city. So this is probably a kind of old souvenir from old Jerusalem. Looking at the pictures, this is what the building looks like. The Tiferet Israel Synagogue, which was ruined in 1948. This explains why I don't know how it looks as a building. I'm 33, and they rebuilt this completely different. I guess the carving is dated pre-1947 and post-1872. And was bought from a local artist as a souvenir. It's not a common souvenir you'd get out of a shop today. What you have is kind of special. What is this small ovular container made from metal with a square opening on top, surrounded by Asian writing and a spout for pouring? The color of the metal is reddish brown, and it fits in the palm of my hand. What could this be used for? It's a Japanese water drop container for calligraphy from the 1920s. It is used to drip a little water onto the inkstone when doing calligraphy. The motif is the Japanese old coin, and the coinage circulated in Japan from the end of the Edo period to the Meiji period, which was from the 1860s to the 1910s. What is this metal star with numbers and letters? I bought from an antique dealer in Bruges, Belgium. He had no idea what it was but thought it was from World War I for some reason. It's about 1.5 inches point to point. It was €3 and I thought it was cool. I will put a chain through the middle and wear it as a necklace. I'm not sure what the metal is, but it is not magnetic and maybe sterling silver. The star tips a yellow metal, possibly gold. What is it? It's a gold testing star. It was used for confirming an acid test when testing gold purity. Each point features a genuine piece of carat gold. The points are used to make scratch marks on your testing stone for comparisons to the items you are testing. What is this antique around 6 inches tall and around 250 grams? It has small cups and a scroll inside. It's believed to be from Israel and purchased around 1955. I'm unsure if its material is gold or some other metals, but believe the gems to be real. The family member I got it from was a major antique collector, so wouldn't be surprised if it ended up being quite valuable. What is this thing? This is a rare and incredibly unique piece of ceremonial Judaica, with Esther scroll and Kiddush cup, dating to the 19th century. It is used for ceremonial purposes and holy rituals. The scroll inside the chalice is called the Book of Esther, which is a 10-paragraph text for the holiday of Purim, where the Jews were threatened to be wiped out by the Maccabees. What is this thing? Came from Ottoman Turkey, joined in the middle and seemingly made of ivory and metal. Both joints have curved ridges at one end, with Arabic numerals above each ridge. One side has the numerals 88, 100 and 110. One of the sides has a metal plate that doesn't seem to be magnetic. There are also two faded inscriptions in Arabic script, which is probably Ottoman Turkish. It came from Turkey and seems to date from the Ottoman period, given the Arabic script and numerals. What is it? Please tell us in the comments. Thanks for watching. Let's make life fun.